belly full force. And I smell jams.
Jams.
953 jams. They keep the house party moving.
Hey faves, it's your girl Jigalodeon here, and thank you for rocking with 953 Jams. Y'all are my favorites, but I know I'm your favorite too. Today we have somebody special in the building, Mr. Guy D, the Guy D Jack Jones. I love your Instagram name. So we have Mr. Jack Jones in the building. Please say hello,
Hey,
Mr.
what's
Jack
going
Jones.
on, good people? Good blessings to everybody.
I was really excited for this interview because I did listen to your track. That doesn't happen often. Normally I like to be surprised, but I was like, you know what? It's called Kingdom. I really was interested in hearing your music. So before we get into that, tell us a little bit about you.
I'm from Houston, Texas. I am a native. I am a artist first. I tell people I'm about 5 years old. I started to really do music the way that I wanted to about 5 years ago. After some some therapy and just finding myself. I spent a lot of years doing music, but it wasn't until about 5 years ago where I got therapy for myself after getting my son some therapy. It made me realize that I was in a box, and I saw myself for the first time, and I decided that it was time for me to discover myself and and give people the music that I thought they deserved and what I deserved to give them.
Nice. So when I was reading up a little bit on your publication with Voyage, you said something like, I never heard what others would hear when it came like in reference to yourself.
Yeah.
Do you still feel that way? Like, how do you feel now? Like, do you understand the beauty in the art that you create at this point, going through therapy and like kind of, just walking through your music journey? Like, how do you feel now about it?
I realized I know what I am now. It's still getting used to, trying to get used to it, but I understand fully what I am. I didn't know for years. I would spend my time trying to find my voice, I guess, whatever that meant, because I never really fit in when I was doing R&B groups back in the day.
Yeah.
I just didn't find my voice. I grew up in a really musical family, and I was the youngest of about five, and it wasn't like I wasn't supported, but I was unnoticed.
Okay.
And you spend a lot of years trying to just find, who you are. And I now where after therapy, I kind of know exactly what to expect from myself, and the bar is very high. I feel like I'm brand new, and the sky's the limit. I'm learning still to this day, and discovering like all the hidden gifts that that was tucked away. It's been cool. It's a journey, but I do understand who I am and the responsibility that requires.
Nice. So you talked a little bit about your church background and the choir and being with the youth choir. So do you only make gospel music, or do you kind of balance between like it's kind of like the gospel genre and like regular R&B?
Well, I do music.
Okay.
And so I always tell people to make that. I did grow up in the church. I never considered, I guess, doing gospel music. All that music is kind of like embedded in me. My mother only listened to country, western, and blues. I had a brother that listened to nothing but Prince. I had a sister that did 80s pop. That's all she did. And I had another sister in the house that did listen to a lot of like Frankie Beverly and Mays and Betty White's, the people that told stories. All the while we going to church 5-6 days a week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was festive. But I grew up in a church. I sung in a choir, and but gospel music, ironically, was never played a lot in the house.
Okay.
It was never really played a lot in the house. We just went. And when I decided to do music, it was just the music that I grew up on, and I heard. It kept mold and shaped me.
Mm-hmm.
It was never pressured for me to kind of do that, but I am a firm believer in God, and God is the center of my world, and on this new journey, it was important for me to kind of start it off to kind of just give, thanks and to, to let people know that that is the center of my life and the center of my my whole background. And so when I do music, it's always in the forefront. But I'm an artist first.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm loving your answers, by the way. Beautiful answers. I can tell you're really passionate about what you do, and I can tell that you actually have a story. One thing you did say about your music, when it comes to your mindset, is to not kind of worry about the noise and kind of just make it and put it out. Which I like that you said that, because as a creative period, that's kind of like whether you're doing content or whether you're doing anything, you kind of just have to just make it and put it out.
Yeah.
So when it comes to your results from just making it and putting it out, like, what do you have to say about that? Like, after you make it and put it out, do you have any anxiety behind it? Like, what is your process when it comes to putting it out?
Well, it was a major issue. For years I shelved everything until 5 years ago, where it was a part of the therapy. She made it basically the conclusion of the sessions, and it was for me to go ahead and make a project, which was my first EP, Left Handed in My Right Mind, and no strings attached, just make it and put it out there. And yeah, anxiety was a big part of the reason why I wasn't out, because I didn't love myself. I didn't know who I was.
Mm-hmm.
And so that 5-year mark, which was like, of course, 5 years ago, the goal was just to get the music out. And in the process, to continue to just grow, continue to discover, who I was and rediscover who I was. And so I can able to give the people, every part of me, and not just, pieces. Try to give them everything musically I have. It's a term that I like to kind of use. I don't want to leave Earth anymore without dying empty. I don't want to hold on to any music. It's no point. I think we're doing the world a disservice without all the music and talent that's left behind in the graveyards.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a part of that, so I want to die empty, and I want to do this for as long as God allows, and just put out the music that's in my heart, the music that I grew up with, and hopefully, like I said, people dig the dude that's actually making the music. That's the game plan.
Okay. So, looking back on the younger version of you, what piece of advice would you give yourself?
Fear. You can't get your true blessings living in fear.
Okay.
And so you have to run towards it. There's no, you cannot run from, what you're destined to be. And so I would tell my younger self to fear not, to find God sooner, and to give the people, what you've been blessed with, because that's, your potential, it requires it. You can't reach your full potential holding it. So it was important for me to continue to, to get better and continue to put this music out. I definitely would tell myself to continue to put that music out and be confident and don't live in fear.
Nice. And I'm pretty sure that piece of advice can work for a lot of us, too, even as adults. I really like that. So, Kingdom, it was released on October 31st.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about your inspiration behind Kingdom.
Kingdom was it's the foundation. It was what I discovered. I discovered that, God, for me wasn't a religion. It's we all are citizens of the kingdom of heaven. And it was basically the foundation and the start of kind of letting the people know where, if they want to know more about me, that's my foundation. It's telling the enemy that you don't own me, you don't know me. And, I was chosen to kind of be here. And I'm still trying to figure out exactly what God wants from me. But as I go, it's important for me to be funky.
Okay.
It's important for me to get people to dance. It's important for me to get people to think and to be inspired. It's important for people to love. And I put that all in my music. And so I think God is encompassing of all of that. And so I'm not trying to redefine, what that looks like. All I'm trying to do is introduce who I am. And that's all I really can be. It's the only way I can actually do this, and just be as authentic as possible.
Okay.
Right.
Before we get into Kingdom, I was gonna say this for after we played your song, but since we're talking about definitions, one thing that I did enjoy a whole lot while reading was your definition of freedom. Can we just talk about and just tell everybody what your definition of freedom and what that looks like for you?
It's I believe that we're living in, heaven on earth. Right? I think that freedom is actually getting up every single day and doing, what you were created to do. It's purpose. I believe that, that I want to live on, heaven on earth. I think that's what God wants from us. And I don't think that you get your true blessings until you actually start doing what you were created to do. And so when I wake up every single morning, I want to be able to create unlimited, organized noise. And for me, that's freedom. That's heaven on earth. Mm-hmm. And so that's really the journey. That's the most things that that's the most thing I'm really focused on, besides, giving God glory along the way.
Wow. This is excellent. Oh my God. Are y'all feeling the vibe in here? I almost want to grab some tissue. I'm like, you really have a beautiful spirit and beautiful energy. So you were just automatically drawn to music. Like, how did you know you didn't want to sell shoelaces? Like, what be a painter, dancer, actor, model? Like, so music, it was just music, boom, and you just knew that's what God had for you.
I grew up in this crazy, chaotic household, and I was the youngest of 5. So, like, my older sister is 8 years older than me, the one that's closest to age. So they're all strategically 3 years apart. And I grew up in this household. In order to be in people's spaces, I had to kind of like, I had to come into their world and their music. My mother I always knew that it was music, because they all love music and they had impeccable taste in music. Impeccable taste. And to this day, it's impeccable taste, and they all love music. And it was the only time really in the house that it was calm. Mm-hmm. It was when music was being played.
Nice.
And so I always knew that it was a part of me. I knew that I always wanted to do it. I was writing songs from the time I was 8 years old. I was listening to Sign of the Times of Prince and music that was, way above, I guess, my pay grade or my age scale. But as long as I can remember, I knew that music was going to be a part of my life, whether I was writing it or producing it. It just didn't realize that I was supposed to be the lead guy until about 5 years ago. So all those years that I was kind of dabbling with music and writing and producing for other people, I was really comfortable being in the background. I always kind of give this analogy, if people know what Jodeci is. I love Jodeci, I grew up with it, but I was always really comfortable doing the JoJo look.
Okay.
When I was young. So, but that took, like I said, that took therapy. It took a lot of work. You had to find out, before I kind of just showed the world who I was, I had to find out who I was and fall in love with myself. I didn't love myself for a long time. And I think a lot of people are kind of just going through life coping. And that was me. And so, like, I don't pass any judgment. I'm not sitting here telling people, being self-righteous. I just knew that I did not love myself for a long time. And I didn't even know it. It just felt normal for a while until the inside wanted out. And whatever I was doing wasn't working. And in real time, I'm making mistakes. And consciously, I think that I'm doing the right things. And it just wasn't. And so it just came to a point to where I almost hit rock bottom. And that's when God actually gets your voice. You know, that's when He gets your attention. And so once He had my full attention, I was obedient from that moment.
Wow.
And so it may not look the way people think it looked, and I don't know what it looks like really for everybody else, but I know for me, it changed everything. And so once I started seeing me and believing in me, it was really much over. It was just time for me to just show everybody, why this is happening.
Okay. I think it's really gorgeous of you to be taking the steps to a better you, outside of keeping God at the center of your life. I'm really an advocate for therapy, especially for us as Black people, but specifically Black men. Y'all don't even get regular health checks now. Therapy, that's major. Getting yourself together as a Black man. So shout out to you for doing that. That really says a lot about you, and you talk about it proudly. Like, you're not ashamed to say, "Hey, I needed to seek the help to get myself together," because the resources are here for us. And it really can help us even to become closer to God as we become closer to ourselves with taking steps like therapy.
Right.
So shout out to you. Why did your manager call you Anomaly?
I don't know. I think it's funny. It's weird that I don't really seek attention. I know it's needed. You got to sell records, and so you got to, get people out there. I really just, I don't take things too seriously as far as myself. I'm humbled in a way because, I'm really just a servant, and I'm an instrument for, whatever His purpose is for me, and I'm figuring that out. I don't know. I just, I have the talent. I know what I am. I know what I am now. I just don't have to get on the bullhorn and kind of just tell you that, that I'm a superstar. It was a pastor that told me something that I resonated with me when I was 18 years old. And it was something that he said that has resonated with me, to this day. He said that you don't have to tell the world that you're a man. Just act like one.
Oh, wow.
Right? And everybody else will get it. And so I don't have to want to tell everybody I'm a superstar.
Okay.
I know what kind of talent that I have. I know the gifts that He's given me. It's just my job to just do the work. And little bit by little bit, I think the message will grow. I have a lot of music. It's my gift to create. And that's the easy part. Everything else is the curve that I'm learning. And, I think life has prepared me for this. I spent a lot of years in corporate America as a director of sales.
You don't work for corporate anymore?
No.
I aspire, Lord. I aspire.
But it's a leap of faith, and it's funny. Like I said, everything kind of just it finds its way back, to this, and so I think His timing is perfect, just like He is, and so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna just continue to try to get this message out here, and I'll do my part. I'll deliver the music, and I hope that it lands where it's needed in the world.
And well, coming up, we are about to get into Jack Jones, the Gandhi Jack Jones Kingdom. Let's hear a little bit of his beauty, his work, his talent. I got to hear it first, y'all. No, I'm just kidding. I got to hear it. So let's take a listen to Jack Jones Kingdom coming up right now.